So, hello everyone, my name is Manish, and today we will be doing the third episode of the lecture series of Python, which we are doing right now. So, today we will be doing about learning about Python input function and also about data types, right? And if anyone is new here, then I would like to tell them that this series is a little bit different series where I am also in my learning phase and simultaneously I'm teaching also because I understand that to master something you have to teach those concepts to someone, then only you can master. And today in the AI emerging era, Python is the very demanded language right now. So we will be doing this as well as you will be getting a learner's perspective and understanding that how to learn things in a better way. So, without wasting time, let's begin this series with a very calm and energetic way, as I say, right? So, as you can see, this is my GitHub profile, and I always update everything here. And you must have to, if you want to access everything, you can get the codes from here, and you will be able to access and edit all those things in your own local machine, right? So today we'll be learning about input function. Before going to that, I always say that we will just starting anything, we should give a quick recap to the previous lectures. The quick recap in previous lecture, and you should also start doing with me that first we have learned about print built-in function, and we also understood about the three different kinds of function, right? And in three different kinds of function we learned about the standard functions which we use like print function, length function, input function, and then we learned about third party functions which are associated to libraries like pandas, numpy, and PySpark also. And the third type was user defined function. So all these three things which we learned, and then we came to the use case of backslash to escape special characters. There we have seen four different types of things. So you should be remembering all this on your fingertip tips. It will just take 5 minutes, okay? And we have also seen that how to use backslash in a situation once you have to skip the double quotes, then you have to, if you are printing any path, then how you have to use double backslash, because there was an error which we got that backslash u was meant to be something related to unicode, so python was giving error. Then there was a backslash new line, backslash tab. So these four things we saw. Then we also saw that if our code becomes longer, then to maintain code quality, we use triple quote to just write our code in a better way. So you can just we have done our quick revision of first class. Then in the second class what we have learned is the about variables, and I explained you that variable is just like a container, and in container we assign some value, we keep some value, right? And that, and if we name the variable, that is actually way to access the assigned value. And I have also explained you about the behind the scene, what happens when we use print function using a variable name. So Python in the background will go and find the variable name and then print the value assigned to it. And also we have seen about updating the variables, updating the assigned value. First we assigned a integer a equals, which was assigned as a 10 value. Now we updated it with 20, and it will, or Python will automatically update it. And we have also performed calculation that, let's say if a is equals to 10, b is equals to 20, and we have seen that c is equals to a plus b, then c in the background will automatically find that variable and calculate it. And once use print function to print it out, then it then print function will go to C variable, and then we'll see the assigned value, which is 30, and it will print it. And then we have also seen that how to make our code interactive to, like, let's say we have seen that if we use variable names in print function, then we can make our code more dynamic. Okay, we can change the variable name, and it will be certainly simultaneously changing and updating the things which are. We have seen that lots of we have written many statements, and as we have mentioned, in every statement we have mentioned the variable name, and if we change the variable name, a variable value, then it will be automatically changing it. We have seen all those things, and I just want to explain you. I just wanted to give a quick revision. If somebody is not able to recall it, then they can go back at that point and also revise it, right? So this was the quick revision done. It took almost 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so let's move to our today's agenda, which is understanding the input function. Before that, I would also like to explain you that we have seen built-in function, which was print function, and so the print function was just opposite to the input function. Print function actually gives or displays something to the user, and input function takes from the user. So print function is giving answers and giving output to the users, and input functioning taking input from the user. So it's these two functions are very much similar, and also they are built-in function and available with the standard library of the Python, right? So let's see here. Print function is to display something to the user, and we have seen this, that using this you can print hello world. Input function to get something from user, as I explained you. Once input, so I want to also explain you that what actually happens in the background when we use input function. Once we use input function, we give some text. Let's say, like, we are using enter your name. Okay, so input function is like asking user that please give your and give your name, and right now we are waiting it until and unless you don't give any input, then Python will not actually save it, right? So right now we are using input function and giving enter your name. Once executed and you given your name and then press enter, then it will be saving it. And once asked about this variable, then it will be giving it the as a output. So now let's move on to the VS Code to understand each and every aspect of this thing. Yes, this. We are in Python input function. Okay, so let me zoom first so that you can get a clear view of. Okay, sorry, control plus. Okay, now I'm sure that it is pretty visible to you guys. So here we are using print hello world. Okay, now before going to that, let me comment it out. I actually always forget to do this, but I will keep in mind from the next time. So now I'm actually explaining you that input function is like, yeah, input function is like you are user have to give some input, then the Python will save it in as a variable name, or if not saved, then your user input is going to get lost. So what I'm actually able trying to understand explain you that, okay, now you have, and now according to this code there will be the output hello world, but what about this? What about input function? Let's say control here, control R. Okay, okay, sorry, control R. Is there any error? Control. Okay, now. Okay. So the print function already printed that hello world, and now we are using input function. Then we will be entering our name. Let's say Manish, and we entered, and we have to press enter. Now nothing happened. Okay. Now let me explain you that what actually we have to do. We are using input function, but the data which I entered, the string which I entered, it it is lost now because you have not assigned any variable with that. Okay, if to further use it, you have to, let's say I have to print hello Manish, but I can't use it because I don't know how to access what I have given as an input, right? So to improve that, we will using variables, and that's why I have explained you. Okay, first we will remove this. Next it comes, I will be removing. Control this. So sorry for that. Okay, so now the problem was that okay, we are taking input from the users, but we have to save it, and for that we have learned about variables. Now we know that it's a string value. Then we will be using a name as a variable, and inside them we will be using uh, as a input function. Now let's see. Now let me show you that. For that I will also do this. Okay, so I'm removing this because right now we understand that what the print function does. Now we are completely I am explaining about input function. Okay, so let's do a quick check in our mind that according to this line, input function will take the name, and here the problem was that we are not assigning any variable to that. So the input is getting lost in the memory. But now what we have solved the problem using variable that name, we have taken input. So now the user input will be saved in the variable name. Okay, now I'm commenting it out. Wait, commenting it out. Right. So let's see. So what will be the output? First, we will have to give input our name, and then it will print hello name. Hello, hello comma, then there will be space. If we remove this, that and then also the space will be created because this comma actually creates a space, right? This is inside the string, this is inside the static value. We have to print this name. Okay, so let's run. Okay, now you have to enter your name Manish, and then press enter. Hello Manish, right? So what we solved that first we have taken input from the user, and then we have saved it into the variable name. And right now using print function, you are calling that you are calling out on that variable. Then Python in the background will go to that variable and see what is the assigned value according to that variable, and it will print it. So we have solved the problem taking input as well as saving it using a variable. Okay, so and Python here is very smart that it will automatically decide that according to the input, it will decide that what is the okay. So here I was wrong. That according I was trying to tell you that according to the input, uh, Python will automatically decide that what is the data type of the input, but it doesn't work like that. Input function always throws a string data type. So we will also see how to handle that. Okay, and we have also seen previously, but I will also explain you that once. Let's read all these things which I have written for you guys. That input function gets something from user. Once input function executed, Python will wait for the user to enter some value, and then it will assign that value to the variable name. So I have explained this. And text inside input function is called prompt. It will be shown to user when asking for the input. Okay, so once we are using this, that enter your name, it shows that Python is waiting for you to give some input, and after that input it will be printing as according to the code. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. We have understood what is the input functionality. Okay, now I'm commenting it out. What is the issue? I don't understand. Okay, so I'm commenting it out. why we need input function. Okay, this is the question, that why we need input function. So I want to answer this, that in every website you will see there will be a use case of input function. Let's say a Google search also, or a chat GPT. We give some input. Let I would show you what I'm explaining. That here, this ask anything is what? This is input function used here, where we can write, where we can give some prompt. Okay, and what actually we are giving is some prompt here. So this is a use case of input function. Okay, now, and one more good use case of which I've also explained you, that I have in previous class I showed you that to we want to make our code very dynamic as well as interactive. So here I will be able explaining you again. In previous class, I have also shown you that how we will be making our code dynamic, because the using variable we make a certain level of add certain level of dynamic to our code. But using input function, it also we also increase one level up. Okay, so here we are using country India and printing I am from this country. Okay, let's say Control R. Let me clear it so that it will be clearly visible to you guys. Control R. So I am from India. What was the print? What was the print function printing? I am from India. But now let's say any, like you were using my code and you are from different country. Okay, so how you will be? You have to hard code it. You have to go to this code and you have to change it. You have to change it to some other thing. Let's say it can be Germany, it can be anything. Now, but using input function, what we can actually do, that in the variable name country, in the variable name country, we will be in the variable name country, we will be taking input from the user. Now, according to the user, you give your input and then we will be changing it as per the requirement, right? So this actually decreases the dynamic and interactive nature of your code. And what this thing does, that we have created a variable country and given a input function to and given a input function an opportunity to user just to say their country name, and the things will be printed according to their input. So now I will be running this Control R, and here you can see that enter your country. I can write it something else. I can write it USA. So I am from USA. Okay, let's run another thing. Control R. Let's say you are from UK. Then enter your country. I am from UK. So it actually creates interactive as well as dynamic nature and behavior of our code. So this is very important and simple use case of input function, but it is used widely in every application and websites. So this is very important to understand. And now we will be looking at the execution, how actually the behind the scene print and input function works. So I am commenting it out and commenting this comment. Let's remove the comment option. So, and you should remember that in Python, codes are executed line by line, and like SQL, you can comment the whole 3 4 lines using two backslash and comma. But here something is different. You have to comment out each and every line. So for that you can select those lines and you can use control and backslash. So now we are understanding execution, about how print function execute. I've also explained you just that we have stored a name in name variable, we have stored assigned a value Manish, and now we want to print this. So what Python will do, Python will print the static part hello comma, and then it will go to find the variable name name, and then variable name, and then it will find what is the assigned value according to that variable, and then it will print it. So let's print it out. Let's give the output. Here comes hello comma. Here you can see there is a two spaces. So we can also remove this space, because we know that comma itself create a space. Again I will run, just let me clear this. Again I will run this, control R. So hello comma Manish, right? Here is now one, and now it's look more far better than the previous one. Okay, so let me comment this. Okay, now this is a last thing that to I've also explained you about how input function works. First, what happens once you use input function, using it with the variable is very important, because if you don't use it with variable, the user input will get lost in the memory. So use it with the variable and then give your input. And after that, you have to print something according to the user input. Then you print using print function, then now what happens that that variable will be found out and what is the assigned value, and then it will be printing the function, right? So I have explained you about the input function, and enter your name Manish. Hello Manish. Okay, so I've explained you about the input function, and it is a very small topic, and now we will be moving to Python data types, right? And I'm actually covering these two topics in once, because input function was very small and data types will take a little bit of time. There is some explanation involved in this, but please focus guys, and you will be getting clarity about data types here as well. And try to code with myself, okay? You can use this video just by playing at 1.5x, but that will not work. You just keep it at 1x and try to code simultaneously with me. Okay. Once you completed the video, then you can use it as a 2x or 1.5x speed. But now you just play it on a 1x and speed, and then do the coding simultaneously. So now we are coming to the data types. Let me clear this. And is it clearly visible to you guys? Otherwise, I will change. Okay, now it's good. So, what is data types? Here we will be learning about data types, and I would like to explain you with a very good example that we previously we have seen that a variable is like anything. It's a container, and container will have some value inside it. Okay, and that container, if we name that container something, then we can access that container value by using that name. So here was the funda of variable. But now I will be also explaining that how the data type is assigned, how the data type Python automatically detects the data type, and how it is assigned, right? So I will explain you why this uh, uh, container. Here, if I don't show you, or if I also don't show you the name, then you can say that this is a container, but you don't know what is inside this. Okay, and in Indian household, it is difficult to just decide that what is inside any container. Okay, it so without knowing it, you can't say, you just say that it is a container. And now even I give a name to this container. I've been giving a name to this container, any name, let it be A, B, any name. Okay, let it be A. By giving name also, we can't say that what is the data inside this, until and unless we open this and see that okay, it has a tablet inside this, then only we can say, because it can have anything, it can have spice as well also. Okay, so it is till now, you if you don't know what is the data assigned data according to this in this variable, till then you can't say that what is the data type of this container. So the same methodology goes with the Python, that if you assign a variable, variable with a value, then according to the value, Python will decide that what is the data type. Okay, so I've explained you in a very good manner that there is a container, and we also name that container A, but what is inside the container will decide the data type of the container. Okay, and you will have to open it and see that okay, it has a tablet, then this container has a data type of tablet. But what if else it has a spice inside this? Then the data type will be spice according to this container A. Okay, so I've explained you in a very good example, but it has actually tablet inside this, so don't worry, it doesn't have a spice in this. Okay, so now I was explaining about data type, but so let's read this, that MC empty box with a label which can store any type of data in it. Okay, this is, but the assigned value will define the data type of the variable. What I have explained you till now. Let's say example of empty box with label variable name. We can put any type of data in it, but once we put the value in it, it will define the data type of the variable. So I've explained you this in a very good manner. Okay, so let's see some different types of data types, and we will also see other things related to this. Just be calm and in always be in energy. Okay, so let's say integer. Right now the variable name is A, but the data type assigned to it is integer. So this variable has a data type integer. Now variable b is b. Variable variable name is b, and data type assigned to is string. We can also use this, or we can use single quotes, right? Wait, I have to remove this. I literally hate when I learn this. When I'm in my learning phase, I hate this. How to remove this? Actually, yeah, snooze for 90 minutes. Okay, so you can also use double quote as well as single quote for that. Now let's see a different type of data type, which is a float data type, and it's a decimal here. Okay, so for decimal we say float. So C is a variable name which has assigned value as a float data type. Okay, 3.14. When then let's say talk about the Boolean, and it's very important to understand Boolean. We will be also using it. String and Boolean are majorly used, and the what all data types which we are discussing right now, these are primitive and these are standard data types. These are used in every code which you will be writing later. Okay, so let's learn about Boolean data type. This is Boolean is true or false, either true or either false. And here it is case sensitive, that you have to use capital first letter as a capital T and capital F. Then you can, if you write it like let's say small false, it will not work. Okay, here it's option giving that change it to this. Okay, so this is Boolean, and then comes none type, that this variable doesn't have any any type of data. Okay, it is none type, no other type, only none. It doesn't have any data type. Then it's none. H equals to none. Then it actually sometimes you we get confused that if H is equals to none, then it's none time. What about this? What about this I with double quotes and there is nothing? That is empty string. Okay, it has I has a data type which is string, but right now inside that there is nothing assigned. It's a empty. Okay, and what about this? Let's say we say I equals to this but space, but it is not an empty string. It is a space. Here is a space. Okay, this comes under a string. So this is a data type which is string with a blank space. Okay, so now we will be learning about data types, that what happen. Let's say there is a situation we are using one variable to store a integer data type value. But after that, if we change the data type, we stored a string value, then what will happen to that thing? Python is smart. Python, what it will be doing? It will be updating the data type according to the assigned value. So we have learned about updation, that a is equals to 10, but in the next line a is equals to 20. What a will do? A will just Python will update it. Python will update the with the current assigned value. But here, previously what we were doing, we were comparing it with the same data type. We are updating it with the same data type. But right now we are updating it with the different kind of data. First, we assigned a variable with number and with integer, and in the next updation, we assigned it with the string data. So Python will change according to the assigned value, that what is value, and it will change it to the string. So now let me show you that A is Manish right now, and okay, we have here. Okay, so let me just read these lines. Updating different data type, I have explained to Python will automatically detect and change the data type. This shows the dynamic nature of Python as well. So Python store variable in different size and different types. So let's say here A is Manish and A is equals to, I can also say A is equals to Bara. So it was actually explaining that Python can also store in different size. Now the size of this is different from this. Okay, this is clearly visible. We will also see a len function to actually see the size of the data of string data. Okay, using built-in function upper to explain why data types are important. Now, okay. So till now we have seen different kinds of data type, and I have also explained you how the data type is decided by Python. It actually automatically decide the data type according to the assigned value. I have explained you about the Boolean, the case sensitive, that the Boolean is case sensitive, about the none type of data and empty string as well as space string. And I have also explained you that data types can store variable can store different data type as well as different sizes of the data. Right. Now I will explain you that what is the use case of data type. Okay. Here we are using, I will be able to explain you with a good example, that if we try to use upper function on integer variable, it will give us an error because upper function is only for string data type, right? So now let's see that, let me do this. Now I will be also teaching you about different kinds of error, which would be type error and attribute error. Just be with me and you will be getting some good information from this video. So what is the need of data type is that there are many functions, many different kind of function which we can use in Python. I have told you about built-in function as well as the third-party function and the user-defined function. But these functions are mm, these functions are made on the different kind of data type, that to do uppercase there should be a string data type. You can't actually uppercase integer. Okay, so there are many functions which are also called methods, are assigned according to the data type. So that's why data type is important, to so that first you should recognize the data type and then you should use in different functions. Okay, because every function is not made for every data type. There are some functions like print, there are some functions like print input. These actually are standard function, comes with standard library, but there are many functions which are not allowed to use for every data type. So for example, I've told you about upper function, which 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 is all actually a methods of class, and methods are like function, and class is like class is just a data type. I will also show you that what is actual meaning of class here. So I was explaining that there are some standard functions which can be used across all data types, but there are some functions which don't allow another type of data type. For example, uppercase. Using uppercase, you will be only able to use it in a string function. Otherwise, you will be getting error if you are using it in different data type. So let's see one by one. I don't want to confuse you more. Let's see one by one. Okay, just one step ahead. So here I told about that Manish print this. Print Manish upper. So here it's very easy to understand that Manish dot upper will change this string into capital letters. Okay. So let's see if there is another. Okay, so there are many things. First I have to, and this is the last step to understand for data type. And I want you to just focus on this because this is the very important concept of data type, right? I just want you to focus because here is the real use case of data type, that to decide which function, which method will be used for which data type. So now let's print this. Okay. So you can see the output is in capital letter Manish. Now what happens if I just give here is a, let's say let's define another variable. Let's say z equals to 10. Okay, z equals to 10. And now we will be using z equals to upper, right? And let's do uh, according to us what will be happen. Like we can't actually in there is no sense of using uppercase in integer, right? So let's see what the error comes. Okay, here what is the error? Attribute error. Int object has no attribute upper, right? So here I have also explained you about that we also have to understand this error message, that what is actually attribute error. Int object, here we see that int is an object and has no attribute upper, as we know that upper is function and int is a data type. But in Python, in here we always use object, and for functions we use attribute. Okay, that there is no attribute related to, there is no attribute upper related to int object. Okay, so just we change this to string, the error will be, we will not get any error here. Okay, now again we can see that Manish is there. So I will also explain you about attribute error and type error. Just be with me. Okay. So what was the error? That we used integer, we used integer object to for for attribute upper. But what was the error? That the attribute upper does the integer doesn't have any attribute name like upper. Okay, so here was a, you can use any other thing once if you are having integer data type, but you can't use upper here, right? So if we try to use upper function on integer variable, it will give us an error because upper function is only for string data type. But what we were using for integer data type. And here is the example also, which I have explained you, that control this, control R. Okay, here comes that int object has no attribute upper. Okay, so we have also seen the error as well as what is the right thing. Then I've also explained you about attribute error, that int object has no attribute upper. So here variable is object. Okay, the variable this is object, and upper is the attribute of string object. Okay, so now this object doesn't have attribute upper because it is of integer data type, and if it was something like this string, then this error will not come. Okay, now you can see that it is removed here. So now we will be changing it to 10 to just alert the code that okay, we have also done this. So here variable is object and upper is the attribute of string object. Does upper belong to integer variable? As the answer is no. Okay, so we have seen about attribute error, and now we will be also seeing about the type error. Before that, empty data is also a data type in Python. It is called NoneType. Okay, we have also seen about the empty data. We have also seen about empty data as well as empty string. Here the data type is string, but it is empty right now. Okay, then we have also seen about the primitive data, which is a single value data type. We have seen about integer, we have seen about string, we have seen about float, boolean, and none type. In boolean we have seen true false, which we know that it's case sensitive, right? Then comes the multi value data type: list, tuple, set, dictionary. This we will be covering in our later videos, but for now you should know these names, okay, so that when once I teach you and explain you, it doesn't make feels very much new to you. You should know these names. Okay, then comes the combination of function and data types. That why actual data types are important. It has a very great use in once you are using function, because you can't use any data type for any function. Okay, there is some limitation. There are some standard function as well as where you can use every data type. Let's for example, print can be used for any data type, but there are many other types of functions where you can only use some like integer, like calculation of integer. If you are using function like uppercase, upper or lower function, then you can only use string function. But for integer you can use bit length. So I will be explaining you all this. I'm just giving you a brief introduction about that. Okay, so standalone functions we have seen: print, input, length, type. These are standalone function. Okay, but here is something catchy in length. Just keep in mind. Okay, just keep in mind, etc. Built-in modules, class, string, and their methods. Okay, so we will be using type here, method of class, and comparison operator. Okay, so now I will be explaining you about the different kinds of function. That is, first is standalone function. Standalone function, which we have seen about, which is provided by the standard library, and these classification of function is actually based on the source, because the standalone function comes from the standard library. That's why it's a standalone function. It can be used by any different kind of data type, most majorly in, but there is some kind of exceptions like len. And you can also tell me in my comment section that what are standalone functions where there is a limitation. Like in length there is a limitation, I will show you later, but you can also comment out that what are other kind of standalone functions which put some limitation on some data types, right? So and the actual these functions are classified according to their sources. Standalone function comes from the standard library. Method of classes are the functions which are only used for a class, defined class, like it can be class of string or can be class of integer, so it is defined for that specific class. So those functions are only be used for the specific data types. For example, upper, lower for class string. And then comes a comparison operators like greater than, less than. And if you see like thoroughly or deeply, you will be understanding that this comparison operators are also like function. They are used as a shortcut way to use that function. Okay, you are comparing it with just by giving a less than or equal to sign. It is a function. Okay. Now comes that I have also explained you about the that these classification are based on the sources that standalone function comes from the standard library, and there are many functions who comes from the third party libraries and also user defined functions. So variables and values. So here was a thing which were not able to understand. I always tell you to you have to understand the error also. You have to get familiar with that. Okay. So here int object. So I tried to understand that what is object. Here objects are variable and values. In the terminal, the error which we see, if there is telling that int object has no attribute and upper, so it means that variables or value assigned to that variable are object, and these object link to specific classes. Okay, so if the variable is, let's say, 10, okay, if the variable has assigned value 10, then this variable is linked to integer class. If the variable name is equal to, if the variable uh, is having a string value, it can be Manish, then this variable is linked with class of strings. Okay, so this you have to understand, and this attribute error you have to understand. This attribute here, it's telling that attribute error int object has no attribute upper. But if we used variable which has a string value, then there will be then there will be no attribute error, because upper is linked with the object. Okay, linked with the variable and that value which is string. Okay, so classes have specific methods. Another data type can't use the uh, method of the other classes. So this method here which we are talking about is actual function like upper. So different classes have different methods. So string have different functions like upper, lower, length. These are different kind of methods used for string data types. So and another data types are not allowed. So we have understood about the attribute error in detail. Okay, and above that is not required. Okay, so functions and methods are same. Yes, it's quite same that functions upper, just when we are talking about classes we say it a method, and otherwise we say function. And if I'm wrong, you can also about this, if you find something new, you can also comment this on my video. And let's say syntax of function. Okay, so let's understand the difference between function and method, that what is actually difference while once you are using function or once you are using method. Okay, so here the basic example which we have been looking, which we have been seeing from our first class till now, and it will be following us till the end. Let me comment it out. Okay, so here the major difference which we see in function and method is the syntax. Okay, so in the function, what how we print hello world is this just, and the syntax method which we see, that we have to use some method which is one is up one we know that upper, and it can be only used in string data type. Okay, so here if you want to use some method and it is specific to some data type which is string, so hello world dot upper, this this is a way to use method. Okay, here you can use also lower as well as upper. This print double quotes because it is used for string hello world, then you can use double lower, right? So this is a way to write method, and there are many different method assigned to different kind of data type. So we have also understood what is method, what is class, how object and attribute are related. Okay, all of these three things we have understood. Now now what all things are left. Let me just have a look. Yeah, we have almost completed. Now we will be doing some kind of coding to just have a look that okay, to have a clear understanding of this, because without coding just explaining doesn't make sense. Okay, let's do this. Control this. Now we are printing, we are using standalone functions right now, print A and B. So this is a very simple, where we are, where you can see that we are using integer data type, we are using string data type, but print function doesn't doesn't limit to any data type. You can use any data type to print. Now we can use. Okay, so actually, there is something which we are missing right now. Let me see. Yes, that's why the error came. Control this. Control this. If there is any print, I will remove that. Otherwise, it's not necessary. Okay. So now we will be doing some exercises to explain what all things we have learned clear. Okay. Now we can see this, that right now we are understanding standalone function, and I have explained you that there is no limit on data type if you are using this print function. Okay, so let me print this Manish and 90. Now let's use a different thing, and to explain you to if you want to find some if you want to find type of the if you find the data type of the variable, you can see this. You can use type function. This is just example. Okay, now you can see that why I was explaining about class. Okay, and class of method. These things will be understood easily by once you get the data type. You are using that this variable A, which is Manish, belongs to class of string, right? And variable B, which is 90, this belongs to class of integer. And according to this class, there is some method. According to string class, there is some method. According to integer class, there is some methods. And these methods will be specifically used for integer data types. There are methods like upper lower, which will be specifically used for string data type. Okay, so I wanted to explain you this. This is a very important thing for data type to understand. Now we will tell you that there are other types of function which don't allow, and I will also explain you what is type error. Control, remove the. Now we have explained you about this type plain. We have explained this. Just remove. Go. So now what is the thing, that A equals to Manish, B is equals to 90. Let me shorten this, otherwise it is very much difficult to scroll right now. Okay. Oh, sorry. Just clear this. Huh. So now I have shown you about the print function, and now as I was explained, in previously I mentioned you that just keep in your mind about this len function. By this we will be understanding the type error. Before that we have understand the attribute error, that there are some classes, there are some object which doesn't have that attribute, which doesn't have that function, which is not linked with that attribute. Integer as an object was not linked with the upper attribute. That's why we were getting error there. Okay, now we will be understanding what is the type error. Okay, let's just print this, then only we will be getting type error. Now we are using for integer length for integer variable, and it's quite just with the sense you can say that there is no sense of printing length of any integer. Okay, there is nothing such thing about length of integer. Let's print this. Control R. Okay, now you are getting the error. Okay, very interesting. that we are now encountering the error and we will be understanding it, that object, there is a type error, object of type int has no len. Okay, so as I've explained you that variable and value are object and it has no len function. Okay, so if you understand the nitty-gritties, you will be able to decode the error also. So I want you to give some time and also learn these things, because I know that these days coding is becoming not a major task, but with these things you can be a good coder using this AI thing. Okay, using AI tools, you can be a good coder, as well as your work would be to debug things. So debugging is right now very important, and without having the knowledge of this, you won't be able to debug it, right? So I want you to now, if you don't understand the type error, how would be you debugging this thing? Okay, so this thing is important to understand different kinds of error also. So we can't use integer in len function. So let's use the string function here, and we will see that there is no error. It says that the length is 6, and it's actually 6, that Manish 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? Okay, so now let's see what is the, so almost we have completed, and I actually didn't explain you about one thing, that we have seen the functions associated with string, but there is one function which is bit length, which is associated with number. So if we use b bit length, then we will be getting, what we will be getting is this size here, bit length about 90. Okay, but a if we use here string, we will be getting a type error again. Okay, so we are be getting attribute error. That string object has no attribute bit length. So this is the way to understand everything, and you can also see that I am also trying to learn things by explaining. And right now also I encountered one thing, that I was expecting a type error, but I got an attribute error, and I will find it out and I will comment this thing in the video. And this is the complete understanding of input as well as Python data types. And you can, here mostly we have not coded much, but the things is pretty much explained in a very clear way as much as I can. And try to code also and learn in a way where you can recall everything on your fingertips. So in the next session, we will be doing quick revision as well. And also I will be commenting the problem, that why I got attribute error as well, because I was expecting type error. So if you find out, guys, please comment this thing in the comment box. And if you like my videos, then like and subscribe. Thank you, guys.